Alright, it's time to be honest. And this is a little embarrassing to admit, but I don't think I've fully recovered from the chaos that was 2020. Like everyone else, I tried to convince myself that I had moved on, that everything was okie dokie, and that I could jump right back into the flow of life. But the truth is, I couldn't. 2020 left a mark on me, affecting me mentally, physically, and emotionally on all levels. The shock of it spun me into a spiral of dread and insecurity. It was genuinely traumatic for me. And it wasn't even the pandemic that hit the hardest. Don't get me wrong, it was scary, absolutely. Anyone saying otherwise isn't being honest. But once we began to understand the situation, it became more about tolerance and patience. What really shook me, though, was people. Human beings being human was actually terrifying for me. The murder of George Floyd and the protests against systemic racism, the global reaction to that tragedy, the political spectrum tearing itself apart with violence, hate, destruction, it was all too much. These were external events happening outside my immediate bubble, but they still shook me. What really broke me was seeing people I knew and loved lose their minds and their kindness and treat each other horrifically. 2020 was the year the world had a meltdown. Everything I thought the world was becoming, which basically is a better place, suddenly flipped and shattered my worldview. Before that, maybe I was naive, but I believed that people were slowly learning how to move past the things that held us back. Racism, sexism, hate. I saw these as fading issues, relics from a past that we were collectively growing beyond. With each new generation, I thought we were getting closer to leaving them behind. Now, looking back, I see that I might have been living in a little bit of a bubble. I was surrounded by beautiful people in the community I was hanging out with. The ones I met through Indescript, Emergence Creative Space, and the 3 Days Light Gathering. These are the people that seem to have evolved beyond those divisions. In my world, we all sat at the same table, regardless of color, sexual orientation, gender, or political beliefs. Literally, we did that for years. But between March 13th and May 25th of 2020, in just 3 short months, the world shut down and blew up. The facade was gone, and what was left was ugly. Proudly so in some cases. Hate was just as potent as ever. The demon of racism may not live in as many hearts as it once did, but it's still alive and strong in those who are possessed by it. Then the riots happened, followed by the ridiculous response from the government and media. What could have been a powerful display of solidarity and growth turned into a disgusting debacle, a tool for political gain. Lines were drawn, and then January 6th happened.
After this, we're going to walk down, and I'll be there with you. And we're probably not going to be cheering so much for some of them, because you'll never take back our country with weakness. You have to show strength, and you have to be strong.
I was done. I was gutted. I'm going to skip over my thoughts on the political landscape of 2020. I don't want to get shadow banned, and I certainly don't want to offend anybody. It wasn't the leaders who did it, though. It was the people who followed them. Honestly, it doesn't matter where you fall on the political spectrum. This isn't about that. This is about how people reacted and treated each other during that time of crisis. Not everyone, of course. Many people shone brightly. But the anger, ignorance, hate, and separation were overwhelming. I got lost in it. I could go on and on about everything that happened in 2020, but the bottom line is that it really messed me up, and I never fully recovered. I've been holding on to that for a while now, and it feels good to finally say it out loud. The impact that year had on the emotional, physical, mental, financial, and spiritual well-being of so many will take years, if not decades, to sort out. I can only speak for myself, but I know I'm not alone. An alarming number of people are still stuck right now, still reeling from how much that time period affected them. But it's hard to admit because so many others just picked up and moved on as if it never happened, like waking up from a horrible dream. Some people just forgot about it or didn't let themselves think about it, but others, like me, it still lingers. But this episode isn't about all that. This episode is about how we can move past it and heal, how we can get to a better place inside of ourselves and hopefully as a global community. I mentioned those things because for many people, that time marked the beginning of a downward slide, leaving them feeling trapped in a world that doesn't match their ideals or align with their hopes and dreams. Of course, 2020 isn't the only reason people feel stuck right now. Every day, people face personal tragedies, financial setbacks, natural disasters, wars, and political uncertainty. The truth is, life can blindside us in countless ways, and we don't even see it coming, leaving us lost and confused. It could be the end of a relationship, a health concern requiring serious lifestyle changes, or a loss of faith that has guided us for years. That's intense. Writing this brought up a lot of feelings. I hope it doesn't trigger anyone too much, but there's a reason I wrote it so passionately. If you can relate to any part of what I just said, or if you have someone close to you who seems to be stuck, lost, or in need of healing and a new direction, then this episode is for you. I know what it's like to feel stuck in despair and feel like you're drowning in grief. But, believe it or not, after all that I just said, I have some good news. And that's what inspired me to make this episode. It is possible to release all the pain that life brings, to get yourself to where you want to be, and to build the life you desire. And it is possible to find your bearings and actually get to a place where you're living your best life. By the end of this episode, you'll already be on your way. In fact, just by clicking it, you've already started your journey. It's time to unstuck yourself. Are you ready? But first, here's the thing. You are listening to Portals Podcast, an extension of the Emergence Creative Space. Listeners are transported into the hearts and minds of some of the most inspired creators, producers, artists, and activists around. Portals is a platform and a spotlight on the people, organizations, businesses, and more who are the unsung heroes making a huge impact on the lives of others. My name is Scott Love, and I'll be your host on this epic journey into the powerful world of the fascinating and inspirational. I am an activist, an entrepreneur, and a visionary. Over the years, I've made some incredible relationships with a lot of epic people, many of which have helped me and guided me on my journey. I believe they'll help you as well. Here's what's up. We are a people in transition. The choices we make now will affect the lives of others for generations to come. Our choices will be our legacy. I want Portals Podcast to be a go-to resource for those who are searching for solutions and to help move us all forward. Thanks for being here. All right, let's get inspired.